Welcome to today's webinar, and I'm delighted to welcome you here and to talk to you today about Aforza Bridge. Today we're going to be talking about how you can get complete visibility across your route to market and third-party distributor partners with Aforza Bridge. So let's look quickly at today's agenda. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the challenges I see when working with clients in indirect markets in the context of data and visibility and control, all the things that really matter in helping them grow their share of the market and win. Then we're going to look at how Aforza Bridge addresses these challenges by connecting the data, both by sharing the data that you need to share from your organization out to your third-party partners, be they retailers or distributors, but at the same time bringing the data that you need from outside your organization in to help you work in a way where it's sitting in the places that you need to operate most effectively. So this is how we see that you can take control with Aforza Bridge and bring order to the chaos. Then following that, my colleague Callum will provide a short demo, bring it all to life. And with that, let's get started. And let me share, first of all, a short intro to Aforza. Now, some of you may already know us and know us well, but for those of you who are here for the first time, a very warm welcome. I'll just give a very short introduction to Aforza, and here we are. So Aforza as a company, we are focused entirely on helping consumer product industries in the space of enabling profitable growth across their route to market capabilities for all their commercial teams. And we do this through a suite of cloud and mobile applications. And as you see on the top right here, our mission has always been to join up the silos of data that exist between the point of manufacturer all the way down to the point of sale, right the way through, distribution partners and retailers to the point that products are sold. And we're trusted today by global companies with users in over 70 countries, as you see here. So today is actually a little bit different because normally we might talk on a webinar like this about how our planning applications and trade investment systems can help your sales and commercial teams plan and manage investment and trade spend more effectively and track their ROIs. Or we might be talking about how our sales applications enable your field teams to go into stores and understand and close the loop between what's being planned and what's being executed in stores. So what's different today is that we're going to be talking not about the application side, we're going to be talking about the data. And for many of you, indirect markets present a bigger opportunity and with that bigger challenges. And what we will be talking about is that how with Aforza Bridge, you can extend processes across your network of distributors and retailers or third-party commerce providers and enable with Aforza Bridge your data to be exchanged so that you can unlock growth that your partners are looking for, that your organization is looking for, and realize the control and visibility you need to win in the market. So let me talk to you a little bit about the challenges, firstly, that I see in the market when we talk to clients about how they join up the data with their distributor partners or their retailers. So straight away, the two words that really leap out to me on this slide is the words time and data. And the reality is the data's there. Mostly it's there. Some people, might try and struggle to get hold of it, but the data is there. The problem is that it takes so long to take it in the state that it's in and convert it into the right place, into the right formats in a way that you can use. So whether you're sharing this data externally or from your partners that bring them back in, that time is a real challenge. And by the time you get it to the right place or get it in the right state, the opportunity is gone. It's too late. So it takes time to reformat it. It causes typically a load of errors and frustration and spreadsheets galore, all these things that really frustrate organizations when they're trying to manage their business effectively. So people are still using those spreadsheets. We'll come on to those in a minute, but that takes time to learn how to use it, the skills. People move on to other jobs or leave the organization, and you end up with orphan spreadsheets with another problem where you don't really have the skills or the knowledge in your organization anymore about how these spreadsheets or data should be used. And it's certainly in a way that you can be accurate and use them in a way that you can rely on. So equally with this delay, with the slow data problem, as I call it, this not only impacts your business, but it impacts your relationships with your partners. And this is really partners like your distributors, where you are being relied on, or they're relying on you for accurate information, for the insights that they need to tell them about what's selling fast, what they should be doing, and how they can best go to market and win with your products. So let's break that down really into those three areas. The first one I'd like to talk to you about is this question about the lack of visibility on stock or inventory. So what this means is, when you're running your business, you really need to know where those products are. Lack of visibility on inventory is a huge challenge. You can't see it. You don't have the control. You can't see what's going on, what products are selling, what products are in which warehouse, any products that might be stuck or slow moving. These things really frustrate your partners, and with the right information, and we'll come on to this, you could really change this. But that's a first step of a real pain point for organizations working in indirect markets. And the second point really is that the data that you really need is locked outside your business. That data that you need to make decisions on isn't available. It's sitting in other organizations' hands. What that means is that the data you do have is lower quality. You're making lower quality decisions and spending hours trying to reconcile. And again, that time issue crops up when actually in today's market, you should really be going faster with all the pressures that is going on. And finally, the challenge you have is that the growth, the things that you need to enable your growth, these depend on things you don't control. This is probably the harshest truth, and the biggest challenge is that things that you can control is manageable and effective for you to be able to make decisions on. But when so much of it sits outside your organization, your growth really is locked outside in that way in what you can control. So this makes it hard to manage inventory effectively and respond in the way you need to in the market with the opportunities that exist. What does this all mean? So very simply put, your company may be connected, as you see here on the left, but that's not the world where your distributors are living. It's not the world where your inventory is, and it's not the world where your products are. And there's a gap, a chasm that sits really between, leaving you with delays and low quality insights, everything that makes it hard and frustrating for you to effectively manage your business. But today, with Aforza Bridge, that's no more. We see this differently, and so should you. With Aforza Bridge, you finally get control. As you see here, everything can be joined up and connected, bringing that organization to the chaos, and you get the opportunity with your partners to unlock the real growth and win together. So let's talk a little bit about actually what is Aforza Bridge. How should you think about it? Because we've talked about the problem, we've given you some of that context. Let's actually go into what this capability is and how are companies deploying it when they're working with Aforza. So Bridge is a data platform that connects the data outside your company with the data inside your company in both directions. There are many different use cases, but I'll point out really 5 key ones that we see for using Aforza Bridge today. So first of all is the distributor angle, and we'll talk about this more today. That's really what today's about. So this is about where you can get the real visibility you need on inventory and pricing and sales in real time. Secondly, there's also commerce tools. These are widely used by a lot of organizations where you need to get the right pricing and promotional information and product availability out into commerce tools, so it's really aligned in real time with your commerce partners, whether they're your own tools you might be using or tools that are potentially connected to a marketplace. And the third use case we see that Aforza Bridge really supports is around moving data towards customer data platforms. This is where you need to collect all the transactional data in a single environment, your data warehouse, where you can understand and analyze that data yourself. So that's another area we see a very common use case for. And next is ERP data. This is really your master data and financial information, all that really critical information needs to be shared and federated across your partners, whether they're retailers in a modern market or distributors or organizations in any part of the world where you're trying to get your data accurately into the hands of in a smooth and easy way, as you know, to help them help themselves win where they are competing. And finally, there's the retailers. This is where we see a real pain of pricing updates not being fast enough, or errors being made between the manufacturer and the retailer. And retailers are making deductions or paying invoices that don't match the latest agreements or pricing rules. And this causes huge amount of bad demand in correcting invoices and credit notes and misunderstanding between you and the retail partners that you're working with. So all of this together can be brought under one roof in all directions with Aforza Bridge, really helping you integrate that data seamlessly into a common view and a layer of automation. The reality is, though, all these systems across all these different areas and different parties are different. And there's systems with different APIs, there are systems with no APIs, and systems that can only work with exchanging data in a flat file in some sort of format, but another system and another partner can only work in another format. So all these combination of differences make things really, really challenging. Also, when you lay on the fact that you've got very mature IT organizations in some of your partners, and some of your organizations are working with very low maturity IT systems and low maturity tech and people. So these are all the realities practically that we see in the market. And this is what Bridge was really designed for, is to bring all this data with these different combinations of scenarios under your control and bring that organization together so you can really truly get the visibility and control you're looking for. So let's talk today about let's talk about today's use case, which is really about the distributors. This is the key point of today's webinar, and we'll be talking more and showing more in the demo shortly that Callum will be providing. So there are three key areas that that really power the relationship as we see it with your distributors, and these sit across, as you see on the left-hand side, things like inventory, getting the visibility on what products are being returned, what products are available, which stock is where by location. All this information needs to be shared between you and your partners in real time. The second point is pricing, the discounts both for the primary sales and also what you want to push into the market in terms of secondary sales, and promotional information or additional discounts. That's another key part of the layer of information that needs to be shared with distributors. And the final here is about compliance and traceability. So you need to quickly be able to recall what inventory was moved, what orders were transacted, the values, the quantities, when. All this is what's critical to allow you to be ready for audits that always happen. You know, obviously we don't want them to happen, but they're a fact of life. And sometimes they're happening on an annual basis and help you ensure that your operations are compliant and you can run the organization with evidence and the control that you need. So with Bridge, you can get this visibility and audit-ready data at your fingertips in real time across your entire distributor network. What we've talked about those different systems and different data formats. It doesn't matter. That's really the key point. That's the problem that Bridge solves, and that's what we've designed it for. So to enable the right data at the right time, this is what Bridge will help you do, bringing that data from the left into the middle so you can really work effectively. But this is really stage one. It's important that we identify that getting that foundational layer is really critical, but it doesn't stop there. And what I'd like to do is now introduce our next star of the show in combination with Aforza Bridge. Let's look no further. Let's introduce Ava. Ava is Aforza's vertical AI. She's a capability we've built exclusively and dedicated to the high-value AI use cases that are so badly needed across commercial teams in the consumer goods industry and all the processes that she supports. That's what she focuses on. And Ava doesn't just tell you, as you'll see in the demo, she doesn't just tell you about what's going on. She takes action. She makes recommendations. She's already delivering for Aforza customers today, where she's bringing more than 50% productivity benefits in terms of efficiencies and improvements in the way they're able to work in combination with Ava. So combining the data we can gather and collect and move in real time from Aforza Bridge with Ava, then you can really go further, and you'll see it shortly in the demonstration coming up. And this is a capability really to detect exceptions and opportunities and take action on these questions and matters of inventory and the challenges we've talked about. So with this, as you see here, from the signals you can gather from Bridge, you can recommend, or Ava will recommend corrections, not only just to see what's going on, but she can trigger processes that your partners can then respond to in terms of making sure that inventory is in the right place so that they can fulfill the demand that exists in the market. So whether it's in warehouses or inventory in a warehouse, whether it's information about sales trends or claims, this is all supported by Ava working together with the Aforza Bridge. So really it's about new data, new automations, a new level of insights, and now a new level of productivity and efficiency in helping you grow your business. And the good news is, whilst we've been talking about this, we've already taken a very major step in helping organizations understand the high value use cases that Ava supports by identifying the top priorities, as you see here with the Ava library. So this is where the Ava library is really here to help you start a journey and unlock that value in how you might go about deploying Ava quickly to get the returns that this capability is really able to provide. And in the library, you've got detailed use cases of what the value is, the personas, the processes, use case by use case, and all the individual people that are involved and touched across this process. And so you can really see the areas and patterns of value that you should prioritize in deploying Ava and this capability in your business. And the good news, as I said, is this is available today for download. As you can see here, there's a QR code that you can just simply click on. And really the point about this is the Ava library, think of it like a fast start on your journey in bringing that high value use cases into reality right across your business. So with that, enough from me. I'd like to hand over to Callum, and Callum will be showing a short demo of exactly what magic we can create when you bring Aforza Bridge and Ava together. And with that, I'll hand over to Callum.
Thank you, Ed. And thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Callum Fitzpatrick. I'm Product Marketing Manager at Aforza, and I'm really, really excited to take you through a short and sharp demonstration of Aforza Bridge in action for me as a manufacturer managing my distributors. So before we start, let me give you a quick overview of what you're going to see today. So we're going to start off with mapping our sales to inventory, and that's indirect sales through our distributors. And then we're going to see an element of inventory control with Aforza Bridge. So actually seeing stock in transit, actioning inventory transfers and getting that confirmation. And then we're going to see the transparency of Aforza Bridge as the data is moving through these different locations. So you can track the processes, you can see the different data that's been shared. And finally, we're going to finish off with some help from Ava. That's Aforza Vertical AI, as Ed just introduced. We're going to see how Ava can give us inventory and warehouse insights and provide a next best action based on the data that's there and based on what Ava is seeing on trends and any performance for those different inventory locations. Right, so now I'm going to show you a real-world indirect market scenario. Now, as a manufacturer, the challenge isn't that you don't have data, as Ed said. The challenge is that the most important information for growth is spread across your distributors, each with different systems and processes. So you end up managing these markets, as Ed said, through spreadsheets and emails. And by the time the truth arrives, it's already outdated. So what I'm about to show you is how Aforza Bridge gives you the real-time visibility and control across your distributors. And of course, how Ava sits on top to turn those signals into prioritized actions. So what you can see here is Aforza's distributor management cockpit. Think of this as the control tower view for your indirect markets. In one place, I can see what's happening across my distributor network. I'm responsible for Latin America, for the sales, the performance. I can see the inventory health and what needs attention. And straight away, you can see something unusual. So across Argentina, Chile, and Peru, performance is fairly steady, roughly around the 20 million mark, which is pretty standard for us in this scenario. But Brazil is completely different. Brazil has actually surged sharply and is sitting around 50 million for the past month or so. And this is where the value of Bridge starts. So instead of waiting for end of month reports or fragmented distributor updates, you're getting near real-time visibility into what's actually happening so you can act during the opportunity window, not after it. Now, the next question is, it's not just, Brazil is up. The question is, who is driving it? Because indirect markets, they're not uniform. We know that. If one distributor is driving the growth, they're also driving the risk in some cases. So I'm going to break this down by distributor. And what we can see is that Premier Trade distributors are responsible for the majority of the Brazil performance. They're driving roughly 38 million of that 50 million across the region. And that's a huge growth engine, which is great, but it does introduce a classic indirect market problem in that your growth is happening inside a partner environment. And if inventory can't keep up, you miss the moment, you miss those sales. Now, with the Aforza Bridge dashboards here, I can drill into anything I need to and get the data underneath. So what I can do is move from the sales to the commercial reality that's deciding whether we win or lose, and that's inventory availability. And this is the key insight. So you can see the stock trend for Premier Trade distributors. It's pretty much done a V shape here, and it's depleted. In comparison, the other distributors, they look healthy and they've still got stock on hand. And this is the pain that most manufacturers face today. Sales spike, demand is there, but you're blind to stock until it's too late. So you only learn about the problem after you've already lost that revenue. So what Bridge gives you here is visibility by distributor and inventory location so you can intervene in time. So let's go a bit deeper. This isn't just a top-line stock problem here. We can drill into brand level and SKU level detail to understand exactly what is driving the issue. What we can see is that our fruit bags, our Skittles fruit sweets, are experiencing a surge in demand, and Premier, our distributor, doesn't actually have the stock to fulfill it. Now, this is important because it means we can be really precise with Bridge. We don't take broad actions. We can take targeted actions on the specific lines that are driving availability, revenue, and execution. So let's move from insight into action now. And this is where Aforza Bridge is fundamentally different from anything else. We're not just observing what's happened, we're controlling what happens next. So I'm going to initiate an inbuilt DMS workflow, distributor management workflow, for a stock transfer. Now, I'm selecting National FMC Distributor Group as the source distributor here. And the reason is they've got stock. They can support the network. And I'm selecting Premier Trade distributors as the destination because they're the ones driving that demand in Brazil and their stock is depleted. Specify the product, which is Skittles Fruit Sweets, and I'm going to move about 2,000 units here. And what I'll do is I'll move it from National FMC's main factory inventory into Premier, the one where the stock is low, into their city center inventory location. So that way the distributor has stock positioned where the demand is being served. And this is the key point. You can't grow indirect markets just by watching dashboards. You grow them by making fast, controlled decisions that match inventory to demand. So now we progress the request because we've just done an inventory transfer request through the approval process. Now, if we take a step back for a second, naturally this might take a little bit longer than a couple of seconds, which is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to move it to approved for the sake of the demo today. But of course, Aforza supports full, robust, auditable approval processes to multiple different people, depending on your specific processes. So obviously for everyone here, it'll look slightly different depending on what that approval process is. But the reason this matters is the control and the proof. In indirect markets, conversations can quickly become pretty subjective. Distributors say they don't have the stock. Manufacturers will say they've shipped the stock. Commercial teams then debate what happened. With Bridge, we don't debate. We prove it's all there. So now I'm going to check the stock movement journal for the destination location, which is Premier's city centre inventory. And we can see the inbound movement here. So that 2,000 units has been transferred and it's now visible and available in the system. And again, for the sake of the demo, we've moved that stock at the speed of sound across Brazil into this new location. But of course, this is tracked as that inventory movement is actually checked out and checked into those different locations. So in a couple of minutes, we've actually gone from a demand spike to identifying the risk to taking corrective action and then actually proving that it happened. So that traceability is extremely important for compliance, for distributor disputes, and ultimately for claims validation at the end. Now, at this point, I think it's worth zooming out and explaining what Bridge is doing behind the scenes. So Bridge is actually ensuring visibility across every distributor, regardless of what systems those distributors use. Some will have a full DMS or ERP setup. Others might just have partial systems. As Ed mentioned, some might only have a point of sale, some spreadsheets, perhaps some flat files. But as you can see here, Bridge is running real-time jobs across those different environments continuously. What does that mean? Inventory movements, inbound updates, distributor signals are being unified into one manufacturer's view. So in this integration hub, it's the connection layer between the manufacturers and whatever those systems are in your distributors. So in this portal, we can see all the logs, we can see the workflows and their statuses, and all of this history is there. It's available for us to use and to prove in any kind of conversations we're having with different teams. I've got all of my quick links for any help that I need with this. And if I come into the Aforza Bridge Control Center, here's where I can see all the different recipes, so those different types of processes that are actually running. And we can see the different types of daily stock and inventory transfers that are running, when they've been stopped, what status they're in. And again, we've got the full history of all of those logs available for me to review or export, depending on who needs to see and who needs to access those different pieces of information. Now, finally, we also have a portal to show everything that's happened today. And of course, with Aforza Bridge, you can have these dashboards emailed to you anytime there's a failed job, anytime certain jobs hitting a threshold, whatever it may be. They're fully automatable and can fire directly into your inbox. So you're getting notifications when things are happening and whatever kind of oversight you want to have on these different jobs. Of course, we can see the different types of workflow and of course the different types of failure. So if it's a branch transfer, a cancel order, if it's a daily end of stock check, and of course the failure types, is it an API error downstream, a timeout, whatever it may be, you've got access into all of this information available at your fingertips with Aforza Bridge. And for each distributor, there was a problem at. So Bridge runs real-time jobs across those different environments continuously. So that means the inventory movements, the inbound updates, and distributor signals are being unified into one manufacturer view for you. And this is why it isn't a huge multi-year harmonization project. You can start with the biggest scenario that matters, get control, and expand from there. So now that Bridge has unified these distributor signals, let's see how Ava sits on top as the intelligence layer. So I'm going to open up Ava here, and what Ava does is interprets distributor activity and gives me the prioritized actions. For example, here, Ava is recommending an actions required health check on the city center inventory after the transfer. And Ava can be absolutely anywhere within Aforza Bridge. She can give sales spike alerts in this case. We can see that stock is okay, but there is a sales acceleration for some of these products, and we could hit a stock out position within the next window. So what's she doing? She's taking action. She's monitoring now the hourly burn rate of these products and suggesting we prepare a contingency transfer or even increase the next PO if the spike sustains for another 24 hours. So you can choose how Ava interacts throughout Aforza Bridge and what data she has access to. But this is where the value moves beyond visibility into decision support. So Ava can help understand which inventory locations are at risk, which warehouses are performing well, and which ones need intervention. And importantly, Ava can also support pushes. So if you're about to run a push in a territory, Ava can tell you whether inventory is ready. If it's not, Ava will recommend delaying for rep X in territory Y by a week, or even moving stock first so your commercial activity is actually fulfillable. And that's a major shift. Instead of running promotions and hoping supply catches up, you run promotions and discounts with confidence because you can see, control, and validate inventory readiness. So let's just recap what you've seen in a few minutes. So we logged in as the manufacturer and immediately spotted a major surge in Brazil. We pinpointed that the growth was being driven by premier trade distributors, and we identified that there was a commercial risk behind that growth, which is stock depletion and ultimately lost availability. But from there, we didn't just report the problem, we took action. We initiated a stock transfer from a distributor with surplus inventory to the distributor driving demand. We moved 2,000 units of one of our products and then proved the movement happened with full traceability and auditability. And then finally, we used Ava to interpret those distributor signals and recommend the next actions, so this doesn't become constant manual firefighting. The outcome is simple. When you can see stock across the distributor network and move inventory to match demand in real time, you stop leaving revenue on the table. You can fulfill demand consistently. You can protect momentum during surges and ultimately scale your performance. Now, the goal today is that Premier Trade in Brazil isn't the exception. With the right stock visibility and distributor inventory movement, every distributor can perform like Premier, and you can maximize revenue by ensuring sales are always fulfilled. Thank you very much for watching the demonstration. I can see there's a bunch of questions that have come in, but I'm going to hand back over to Ed first before we get to the Q&A. So over to you, Ed.
Wow, thanks, Callum. That was amazing. I'm always amazed as to what Ava is able to do with the right data in combination with Aforza Bridge. Just fantastic. So let's briefly recap on the value that this combination of Ava and Aforza Bridge enables. So firstly, the real-time visibility. This is step one. Remember that image of the data taking too long and the opportunity being lost? That's what this solves. This is the first step. And secondly, no more spreadsheets. Burn them, delete them, get rid of them. That's finished. So there's a huge amount of productivity saving in terms of the time and the effort of the people, because you can have your data together in your systems and your partner systems and your distributor systems. The data is matching consistently in real time. Just amazing. So thirdly, the ability to support audits. This is the serious stuff. All the information you need to produce the evidence that everything's been done to a compliant and organized manner. This is at your fingertips with Aforza Bridge. And finally, you can scale this efficiently. This has been one of the biggest challenges and barriers to doing things with indirect markets today, because you've got different partners and different systems who work in different ways and all that different level of IT sophistication. So bringing all that together with Aforza Bridge is how you make this scale. So let's talk about how you get started. But just allow me one moment just to give you a little bit of context about Aforza and how we've been delivering for consumer products for several years now with customers in all these markets I've talked about. So we've received tremendous support and endorsement from analysts, from Gartner to the POI, as you see here, the Promotion Optimization Institute. And these are analysts who work exclusively with brands and manufacturers, guiding them on capabilities and companies that are innovating, proven, and helping customers get the edge in driving those new level of efficiencies that are available with technology today. And we're very proud of this recognition from the POI, and you can download their report for more details with the QR code here that you see on your screen. So how do we get you started? Where do you step off and get the ball moving? The first step is use this QR code here. It will take you to the Aforza Bridge site where you can learn more. And the second point is that on that site, you can request directly on the site for a chance to get in touch and speak with us for more details. And what we'll do there is help you understand, the opportunity in your context for your business. What does a plan look like? What's the best step forward for you to start your journey in taking that data chaos and converting it into organized growth? So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm now going to open the Q&A, live Q&A, if you want to ask any direct questions. I can see a few questions are coming in. Just one second, and we'll look at the first question.